Hello and welcome back to Bits and Bobs. In today's video I'll be teaching you loads of different ways to authenticate your coins. How to verify that your coins are real. Well, this video is the video for you, as I'll go through all different methods to test silver coins, the silver content, or to test collectible coins to see, just to get an idea of whether they are the real deal or not. I've got a little list here. I'm going to be reading you, but the most of the video won't be seeing my face. You'll be glad to hear. You'll be seeing coins, and I'll be testing out these methods as I narrate them to you, showing you what to do as I explain how to authenticate your coins in these different ways. So, the first one on our list is the weight. This is the most simple one. Now, I don't have to explain how to use scales to you, but simply digital scales, the ones in question here, will cost about £5 or £6. And you can simply put on the coins. We all know that an ounce, you can put in ounces, as it was for that Silver Britannia at the start, and see it should be just over 1 ounce or about 1 ounce. Of course, they are not quite pure, so you always want it to be a little bit higher for the Silver Britannias. And then, just weigh your coins. You know what to do. Simply look up the weight it should be and see if it is that weight. Of course, do bear in mind for older coins, if they are worn, they'll be a little bit underweight due to the wear, removing some of the metal. Now here we can see a small clip that I filmed vertically, unfortunately, of 2 George III halfpennies, or rather I should say 1 George III halfpenny and 1 fake. Copper halfpennies as this are often very cheap and affordable ways to get into Georgian coins, but beware the fakes. This is a real 1775 halfpenny, and this is a contemporary fake 1775 halfpenny. Now, the easiest way to tell the difference on these is you have a look at the colour. Now, they'll always be quite dark, but the colour is, can be changed and subjective. So the easy way to tell, probably the best way, is just to simply weigh it, as the fakes never weigh right. So the fake there in the coin flip weighs 6.72 grams. Just about see there, 6.72. So what I'll do is I'll then grab a flip to make it fair, and then put this real one on there, and that 11.2 grams. This one, nice and heavy, nice and thick, real copper. This one doesn't weigh right. That is a fake. But the point is, the weight was a dead giveaway straight away. It was not. Those coins were copper. This one was much lighter than copper because of the weight told me that it was indeed a fake. So that's how I found out one of my coins. I knew it was a fake, but just to demonstrate there that it was a fake through the weight. Next up is the diameter and thickness. So again, a fairly easy sort of first step test. This one does require, you can do it just by with a ruler or with like a grid, and you put it on and to see the diameter. But to get it precise, and especially for the thickness, you need some digital calipers to verify the diameter is correct. And simply with the weight as well, you just look up what it should be and see if it really is. Do make sure though, when doing the diameter, with calipers, you get the calipers on the widest possible part of the coin. Of course, the diameter is the longest measurement that runs through the circle, so make sure it is that and not just sort of to the side of the diameter, if you know what I mean. And the thickness, again, very same simple thing. You put the coin sideways, put the calipers down, and see if it is correct. Most coins, the thickness will be readily available to research and find out what it is. Some of the older ones might not be, and of course, the big thing here, thickness can't always be trusted with old coins because of the wear. Lots of coins are worn down. Even like a 10p in circulation will have a variety of thicknesses because of the wear. But it is always useful to test that as well. Now, moving on to something a bit more, well, it's actually less specialized. You don't need any equipment to do this, is the sound. This one is basically for silver coins, and the other two can be used for any coins, but silver coins have a specific sound. And for this one, because it's about sound, I will stop the narration of myself now, and we can listen to some testing of some sounds of silver versus non-silver coins. What I've heard there, different frequencies, different sounds of silver. If you know the sound of silver, or you think you could sort of trust yourself to know, that's great. You can always tell roughly. It just should be a nice, sharper, clearer, more beautiful sound. Honestly, like silver bells, of course, the nice pure silver sound in this case, rather than the base metal, which is a bit more tinny, bit not as nice. You can also get apps on your phone. There are a few apps and things that actually use computers to tell the sound, and it actually analyzes the sound waves. And I don't know the exact science behind it, but it just basically, you can simply do the sound and it will listen to the sound and it will tell you exactly if it is silver or not, because it will just use, the robotics or whatever, the science, and analyze the sound if you don't trust your own ears to do that. Is design details. This one's quite trivial in some cases, especially with 50p's. So a lot of rare 50p's, just look at the design. Some of them do say copy. Not all fakes are sort of evil, trying to trick you. Some of them are just simply for collectors to fill in a gap. Kew Gardens, football 50p's, salmons. There's lots of not, they're fake, but they're not like trying to get people scammed. They just simply say copy on them. But if someone then, that's just in a collection of coins you've bought or whatever, and they make their way out there, then you do want to check that. Also, look at pictures. It's one of the best ways to do it. Get a picture of a coin that you have and simply compare the details. And if you look at one, and say, for instance, it's a sovereign, and the detail's a bit low, the relief's a bit low, and the tail of the horse is actually substantially shorter than a real one, then there's something to look out for there, and you can put it through other mediums of testing that we'll carry on with now. So colour and the look is sort of a, this one comes with more experience as well. That's one of, well, we'll go to the next tip is experience. It's simply a fact that the more experience you have, the better you'll be. My example for this is Lawrence Chard. You may have heard of him, the founder of Chard's Coin and Bullion. Not sponsored, but we all sort of know it's a big bullion dealer in the UK. He started his company in 1964. He has been dealing with coins and sovereigns and bullion for over 60 years. And after 60 years of dealing with these coins, he knows what he's doing through experience. And the more, I have some experience. I've dealt with a lot of coins, more than I would say the average person, of course, as a collector. But the more you sort of know coins and the more experience you have, you can tell things like the color, the design. And if you're not as sure, then you can use pictures of real ones from catalogs or coin books to sort of see, that shield is too wide, this is an imitation, or that looks visually correct, weighs correct, and do your own research that way. Now then, I've been rambling on. Let's see a very cool one. These next two are for silver, to test if silver coins are silver. Firstly, magnet testing. But not just the simple grab a magnet and see if it sticks. Of course, you don't want your silver coins to stick to the magnet. So you can see me here testing some coins, and luckily my silver ones are not sticking to the magnet. That's a good sign. And that 2p there and some other ones we know are magnetic, that do stick to the magnet. Sorry, they do if they're magnetic, of course. The cupro-nickel coins also don't stick to the magnet. Neither does copper coins and so on. So it's not just because it doesn't stick to the magnet doesn't mean it's silver, of course. That's when the secondary test comes in. There's two ways you can do that. Well, there's three ways. The best way is with a silver slide. These can just be purchased. It's basically just a magnet on an incline, and then you put the silver coin there. Well, and not any other coin that isn't silver should just slide down quickly. But a silver coin, I forget the word, and I should have. It'll be on screen for you there. It's basically, the word is the word, as you can see there. The definition of that word is very slightly magnetic. Basically, it responds to a magnet that isn't magnetic in itself, and that is what silver is. So it will slide slowly, a bit slower down a silver slide. That's the best way to do it. The other way is to slide a magnet down the coin. My magnet is a bit big, so it's been a bit awkward, but you can see on screen now as I talk the demonstration of sliding this magnet down a non-silver coin. It just slips down very fast down the coin, and then testing it on the Silver Britannia, it goes a bit slower. It's just a bit more of a gentle, slow journey down the coin, because there are elements of a partial magnetism in the silver coin, so it makes it go a bit slower but doesn't fully stick. Another fun way, and this doesn't have to be with batteries, but is to get batteries or something round, small little balls have been used before. It's anything that the coin will sort of wiggle on or roll on, and then get a magnet and pass it over the top. Just barely touch, don't touch the coin with the magnet because you'll knock it, but just as close as you can get, sort of like this, and wiggle and go back and forth with the magnet over the coin. Here you can see me doing that with a non-silver coin. Back and forth, the magnet has no effect on the coin. It's still on the batteries, no wiggling, no rolling, no silver. But here is a Silver Britannia with the same thing going on, and look what's happening. It is wiggling, that same very slight bit of magnetism coming into effect. You can see it just slightly getting jogged around a bit, and this also does work with sterling silver coins. Of course, the stronger the magnet, the better, and the more sort of rolly the thing under the coin is, the better. My silver 925 silver sterling crown wasn't moving much because I've got not a very good magnet and the batteries aren't the perfect rolling source. But this is a great way to test silver, and again, very cheap. All you need is something to roll it on and a magnet. But those ones are for silver. Oh no, those ones, there was two I was going to go for silver. The other one is very simple. I've mentioned it many times before on the channel. It is the tissue paper test. Only, unfortunately, working on fine silver, so pure silver. But we can see a bit of old tissue paper, a bit of old kitchen towel, put it on coins, and the silver ones shine bright white through the paper towel. And you can see there, no other coins are shining through because none of the others are silver, but those silver, or rather, none of them are fine silver. But the fine silver coins, whack a bit of tissue paper on it, and it glows white. Easy test, very easy indeed, and a first step of reassurance for a silver bullion piece. Speaking of bullion, and all coins, now, fakes can be the correct metal, but they often aren't because they are fakes. They're not the real deal. And even if they are silver, for a sterling silver fake, it might be just 90% or 93%. 92.5% exactly would be harder for the fakers to get correct. The next one is one that is very expensive, so a big contrast to our previous cheaper methods. So the metal content is the Sigma machines, XRF scanners, Sigma machines. They just simply actually analyze the composition of the metal. The cheapest these are, I think, at 1,800 for the cheapest machine. But they are, if you have a huge sort of flow of coins that either you buy and sell or just buy in tons, you just can't go wrong. Stick it on the Sigma machine and it will scan the coin, or the metal rather, and let you know if the metal is correct. And chances are, if the metal is correct, if the weight is correct, if the diameter is correct, if all the other things we've said, then it's probably going to be real. Getting on to the final tips now. Hopefully this has been helpful so far. One of our final tips is just simply known fakes. So if you've got, let's just say, if you've got a 1904 sovereign, or a 1895 crown, or whatever the coin may be, literally Google that coin, but with fake in front of it on Google, or look up, ask on groups, fake 1814 sixpence, or and chances are, if there are fakes out there, there'll be a photograph somewhere, and it's sort of the reverse method of seeing if your coin looks like the real deal. If your fake is identical to another fake, then chances are it is, again, a fake. This works best with hammered and Roman coins. It's a great way to tell because hammered coins and Roman coins are all individual. They're made sort of more by hand, and they all look different. You'll never see two identical Charles I coins, for instance, but you will see two identical Charles I fake coins because they'll have been mass produced to try and flog off these fake pieces. So there's a fake one out there with the sort of exact colouring, exact layout, the tiny bit of clipping is that they've made it look like that, and yours is the same as that, then unfortunately it will be a fake if you find another one that looks almost or basically identical to it in this regard. But always use multiple of these methods. The final method is simply sort of phone a friend. Now, the coin collecting community is amazing. There's loads of different sort of forums and groups. There's Stacker Social Discord group. There is the Silver Forum on just like the internet. There's Facebook groups as well, loads of different Facebook groups for all these kind of things, as well as YouTube comments. Down here in the comments, I'm sure there'll be lots of other people giving their tips and advice to you if your coin, if you're worried about it being a fake, and coin shops as well. Even jewelry shops, you can go into a jewelry shop and ask. They usually have metal testing machines. Could you test my silver coin, please? Often you'll get a yes. So just ask for help, ask the communities. If you're starting out in Roman coins and you don't know much about Roman coins, join a Roman coin group on Facebook and post and ask about your coins. We, back in the day, the Hammered Corner, bit of a shout out to the Hammered Corner, we used to ask him a few questions about our hammered coins. He would give us more information and identify them, the ones that are a bit worse for wear, that we couldn't tell what. And great news, he got back to us, and we knew what those coins were. So it's a big one to do, not just for telling fakes from real ones, but just to sort of see if you don't know what a coin even is to start with. Email us, leave us a comment, we'll try and help you out. And all the other different ones I mentioned, people are always looking to be helpful in the community and help you with your coins. But there we go. Now, if you've got a coin that you think might be fake, you think is a bit dodgy, you don't know if it's authentic, if you put it through all those tests, I'm sure you will find the truth, the reality of it. And the final one is simply, if all else fails, grading or the Royal Mint. If you send a coin for grading, there is a fee. I believe it's £30 per coin, but they will tell you exactly what it is and if it's fake or not. It'll come back fake. Hopefully it won't, but if it is fake, or it will come back in those coin slabs that you know it'll have a grade, it'll have all the info on there. And similar to the grading thing, the Royal Mint authenticate coins, I believe they charge £20. They don't give it a grade or a slab, but you can simply send in a coin directly to the Royal Mint. They will have a look at it, the experts, and just say what it is, if it's fake or not, and send it back to you with the information. But of course, those are fairly expensive, especially if you've got like 5 coins that you're on the fence about. That'll be like £100 for the Royal Mint to look at them. So better to do the other methods as first, as we've discussed. But there we go. A long video, a bit of a ramble from me, but hopefully an insightful, helpful, and useful one for you looking to see if your coins are real. I'll very quickly reel off all we've talked about so far, and then you can choose your favorite methods and leave us comments below how you authenticate your coins. So the weight, diameter, and thickness, very important. The sound of the coin for silver. The design and the color, also worth looking into. We then have the tissue and the magnet tests, again for silver. The Sigma machine to test if the metal content is real. The Sigma machines, by the way, they also will test copper and all in different types of metal. They do platinum, gold, silver, copper, just to test the metal content is real. Look out for known fakes, and of course, the acid test is there if you want to. And then, of course, the community and services such as grading and the Royal Mint are also there for you. One of the best ways to avoid this in the first place is to buy from a reputable dealer. If you trust the salesperson, then you don't need to worry too much. But if you do feel like one of these coins is worthwhile of needing authenticating, then that is how you do it. With our little list there, the Bits and Bobs coin authentication list. Comment down below other ways that you test your coins. We would love to know. And again, here we go. The community, a great help. Look in the comments for some other ways of how to test your coins. I will finally stop rambling on now. And like I say, hopefully it's been insightful for you. Please do leave a big like on the video. And importantly, subscribe down below. We're trying to reach 20,000 subscribers, so please do help us out. That's enough from me. Have a very nice day, and I'll see you next time on Bits and Bobs. Bye for now.